right, we're pulling the 8N out from where it is sat for quite a number of years now. Come on, little tractor. So the Ford you see behind me, this little tractor, is a 1948 8N. After conferring with my mother, it turns out we bought this when I was 14 years old, and it's been sitting for at least the past 13 years. And right now I'm in the process of getting it loaded up. I'm gonna haul it back out to Wyoming and rebuild this little thing and get it working again.
Where'd you get your winch at?
Amazon!
Of course, I should have known. Becky, I need a electric winch or something myself.
I would buy another one of these in a heartbeat. It's a Vortex brand. It's a cheap brand, but this thing, it's a 12,000 pound winch, and I paid $300 for it with the wireless controller. And it has paid for itself more times over than I can remember. That's the great thing about this wireless remote, is if I was alone, I could be back here doing this no problem. Because it's not pulling hard at all. Once I get up a little closer, I'm gonna have to move these ramps in. Maybe not. I'll move this one just a little. Yeah, it'll get new tires. It'll get new everything. Now, before you guys comment about being near this winch cable, there's very little strain on this thing, so I'm not concerned. Come on. Steer right, just a hair. There we go. Come on. My little wireless button's acting up. I'm gonna stop right there. Think that'll work. Hey, make sure you set the parking brake. Yeah. All right, so behind me here, I've talked about it a little more. You guys just saw it got loaded. This is my 1948 Ford 8N. And I'm just going to give you a quick walk around of it here on the trailer before we leave. The body's rough, everything on it's rough. It's a little 4-cylinder flathead, and it has the Sherman auxiliary transmission. Now, there were 3 different kinds of these transmissions. There was a overdrive, an underdrive, and a combination. I don't remember which this one has, but there's your controller for it. Here's your transmission. He put it in gear when we parked it. Come around back. You've got your PTO. Oh, that cap is stuck, but your PTO's under that cap. Here's your 3-point. As you can see, these are just super basic little tractors, but they were kind of revolutionary for their time because they were affordable. And they weren't meant like we think of a tractor to do all these things. These tractors were meant pretty much just to replace a horse. And they were brilliant for that. This is one feature that modern tractors have gotten away from, and I wish they hadn't. This one's all rusted, but this crank adjusts the tilt on that right side 3-point link, so you can adjust it right from the seat. Modern tractors have kind of gotten away from that, and they've gone to these turnbuckle styles, which are fine and they work okay. You've just got to, you can't adjust them from the seat anymore. So you can see this tractor, it needs 4 tires, but this is an original rim. These are called hat style rims because it's got this solid edge where the bolts go through it. And around here on this other side, you can see this wheel has been replaced because it does not have that solid edge. It just has these little loops where the bolts go through it. Here's the top link that will probably have to be replaced. You can see these had the exhaust coming out the bottom, which is a little scary for working in a hayfield. You could start a fire, but it was originally a 6-volt system. Here would be your generator. Here would be your carburetor. I'm gonna have to go find it if it's still here, but this panel right here is for your air filter system, and they made a little pre-cleaner that would bolt here. It was an option. It would bolt up right here. It had a little, like the mouth of a funnel on it to draw air in, and then there was a jar down here at the bottom that would collect and hold dirt. So I'm gonna see if I can find that. It's around here somewhere. We got a couple other things we're gonna load up. I'll talk more about them later, maybe on the drive back. So stick around, I'll be back in just a minute. All right, you guys saw me getting loaded up here, so I'll tell you, while we're leaving, I'll tell you a little bit about what I got. You gonna fall over, little girl, you best sit down. I'll tell you a little bit about what we're hauling. We have 3 different things on our trailer. Probably the big one, the most noticeable one, is my 1948 Ford 8N. Now, when I was in my early teens, and well, pretty much my whole life, but when I was in my early teens, I got really interested in old Ford tractors. So we bought, it turns out we bought it when I was 14 years old. We bought this 1948 8N. It's got a Sherman auxiliary transmission. It was wore out when we got it. We used it as much as we could, as best we could. But since I moved away, since I went out on my own, I haven't had it. It's just been sitting there at the house, and it's been sitting for at least 13 or 14 years, I think now. So we're hauling it back out home, back to Cheyenne, and I'm gonna be doing a video series here in the near future of stripping this thing totally down and rebuilding it, rebuilding the engine, going through the transmission, the whole thing. So if you're not subscribed and you're interested in that sort of thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get all those videos when I start putting them up. But I got 2 other things on this trailer I want to talk about too. So I've got, on the front of this trailer, I got an old horse-drawn Sickle mower. And I can't remember what brand it is. I did look, I'll tell you later when I see it. But that sickle mower, for as long as I can remember, sat at my grandfather's house. And it never operated, and I always liked it. So when we were, right when I was around that 14-year-old age, we picked it up and brought it over here to our house. And, you know, it just kind of sat, never did a whole lot with it. But I was asking yesterday, I went to see my grandmother and a couple of my uncles and cousins and kind of extended family, so I got to see all them, had a really good time. But I was talking to my Uncle Steve, and if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you should, because I put up a couple pictures over there. It's Guy NWI on Instagram, just like it is here on YouTube. But my Uncle Steve was a young man, and he helped a preacher build a back room on his house. Let me see if I can get this all together. When my Uncle Steve was a young man, my grandfather's brother was a preacher down in, I think he said Parsons, Tennessee. And he was a preacher down there for about 30 years, we think. But he was a preacher down there. He lived up here, and he had a house, and he wanted to build a room onto his house to put a wood stove in. And everybody knew him as Uncle Jess. So he hired my Uncle Steve to help him build that room onto his house out of rough sawmill lumber. And they built the room, and as payment, he gave my Uncle Steve this old horse-drawn sickle mower. And Steve had a tractor at the time that he pulled it with, but since then, you know, things have changed, equipment got sold, that sort of thing, and the mower ended up just sitting. We hauled it to our house when I was maybe 13 or 14 years old, and now I'm hauling it to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where it'll probably end up getting cleaned up and being a yard ornament, but it's family history. I've always liked it, and I'm glad to be taking it home. So we're on the road, we're moving. It is about 11 o'clock, maybe a little after Central Standard Time. So yeah, I'll catch up with you guys later on during the trip. While we're in traffic, I'll just kind of give you an update on how things have been going. I ran 50 PSI in the Firestone Ride Right airbags on my way from Wyoming to Tennessee hauling the John Deere 5320, and that was about right. I could have bumped it up to maybe 60 PSI. Well, I know I could have, but I think if I had it to do over again, I think I would. I ran 50. I left it at 50 when we loaded the 8N and the sickle mower and the harrow sections and everything that I've got on now, and this thing rides like a dream. I wish, I said this a couple days ago and I'll say it again, I wish, knowing what I know now, I had put these airbags on every pickup truck I had up until this point. They made that much of a difference. It was $200 extremely well spent. Is this guy trying to come out? I guess not. Is this, yeah, this guy's coming out. Okay, I'll wait on him. Or is he? Are you coming, driver? No, he's stopping too. I guess they were witnesses. Oh mercy, this does look quite serious. There's two vehicles in the median. They're sitting there with a lady. Oh, there's someone laying on the ground there. Yeah, there's a couple vehicles in the median for sure. But I ran 50 PSI in the airbags. Worked great. Hey, little girl. On the way down, I wanted to scale and weigh the truck and trailer and everything with that John Deere, but I didn't get to. But I averaged 7.16 miles per gallon on the way down. Over on Instagram, which is Guy NWY, just like it is here on YouTube, I've been posting pictures of the trip as I've been going, and I told folks to guess what kind of mileage I was getting in this pickup with my small block gasoline engine. And most people were guessing single digits, and I got to go back and look. There were a lot of comments, and I just haven't had time to read them all, but I'm pretty sure a couple of you guys nailed right around 7 miles per gallon, so good call. If you want to go head over to Instagram or comment here, let me know what kind of mileage you think I'm going to get coming back with the 8N. The 8N weighs a whole lot less than the 5320 did, so in theory it should be better. But I'm also going uphill essentially the whole way. The elevation where we were in Tennessee, I don't know exactly, but I want to say it's a few hundred feet. And back in Cheyenne, the elevation at our house is 6,700 feet. So we are climbing a hill for the next 1,000 miles at least, which will have a very negative effect on my mileage. But we're back up to highway speed, we're moving, so I'll catch up with you guys later. Welcome to Springfield, Missouri, everybody. All alone and lost, for a life of sin, I've paid the cost. When I pass by, people say that goes another boy down the lost highway. There's a deck of cards and a jug of wine, and the woman's lie makes a life like mine. For the baby man went astray, started rolling down that lost highway. This is real music, kids. This is country, kids, not Luke Bryan. I was just a lad, merely 22. Neither good nor bad, just a kid like you. And now I'm lost, too late to pray. Pay the cost on the lost highway. Boys, don't start your rambling route. Live up sin, sorrow bound. Take my advice, or you'll curse the day. Started rolling down